So everybody asks, how are you going to do it? Well, we can fix this budget problems. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. First thing you do is you start fresh. It's like any business would do. You review each and every area of income and where it's being expended. It's pretty straightforward. One of the biggest areas we're expending funds at Lehighton is with employees and staff. So we just did the new contract. We'll go over that at the end of this video. But the conversation needs to be who's on staff and why. Okay, so you got obligations and mandates, right? So you got an obligation to pay off that expensive debt that we have. We also have mandates, so we have to provide free and public education. But those are the minimum things we need to do as far as for our students. And then after that, you want to add things to the students because we're a great community, provide great services. We want to add safety and some luxuries. Transportation is a luxury, but I think it helps the district. I think it's safer for the districts. We should have that in our budget. It's a shame when they put that as a wild card. Same with arts and some other expenditures, music and the like. These are luxuries that are definitely needed within our community. They should not be cut. I'll tell you an area to cut. Here's a simple one. If you go under the annual financial report, pull it up, page 5. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. Here, I looked. Here's a whole department, inside of our administration that once you go to Pennsylvania School Code doesn't exist. I mean, you could look up teacher and you're going to have it listed hundreds of times. You can look up assistant secretary. Right? You can look up assistant to a lot of things. You can look up assistant superintendent. But what you can't do, you can't find in Pennsylvania School Code, is assistant to the superintendent. Doesn't exist. So what happened was, apparently, this whole division of this was added in and rearranged. It's $1 million or close to it between benefits and salaries and people. It was originally created when they were going to build schools and the superintendent needed a helper. What are we doing now? Child accounting secretary? We have staff for that inside each of our schools. This assistant to superintendent has its own staff, network analyst, network managers, all underneath this assistant to the superintendent. There's a whole bureaucracy that takes place that just looks like it needs to be removed. Let's talk back about the safety of the students. You have busing. Busing's 70 times safer. Definitely want to keep that in the budget. Right? Another thing about safety, how about student safety by having a patrolman patrolling those schools to protect them from outside intruders? Some people call that a security guard, armed or unarmed. Security guards are really valuable. This is what people hire to protect their own individual family members. They don't hire policemen. Policemen are obligated by the law to enforce the law and arrest these students of ours. We're not looking for that. These kids make mistakes. We want security guards, not policemen. That saves tens of thousands of dollars. Now we're down to one police officer, but at the same time, a security guard, whether we decide to have him as armed or unarmed, would make much more sense. And you could probably have multiple of those to prevent intruders from coming into our schools, to protect our students, to give these students someone they can go talk to, someone they can go visit, right? Not someone there that took an oath to arrest them and uphold the law. I mean, sometimes kids make mistakes and their parents should be called. We would like that. That's safety, and that's a pretty high luxury, but to put police officers doesn't make sense. There's also a whole plethora of social workers within our district. Now, these are great people. They do a great job, but ultimately, they're not mandated. They're not required. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of extra money that we spend to help our students that we may or may not be able to afford, especially when you look at the budgets. Well, here's the budget real quick. We're still, now that they put in the teachers union contract, we're still $500,000 behind. We got to make up $500,000 plus another million or so we can have some reserves. And then we have to lower the taxes to get more income to come to our community. Yes, every time we've raised taxes in the past, the revenue coming into the district has been reduced. we're maxed out. You really can't charge these taxpayers anymore. You need to reduce the taxes a little bit. And by putting all these pieces together, we can save some money. Let's take a look. This is what we were arguing about over at the meeting. So this is the 2016-2017 contract for the teachers union. It goes down to step 19 and then 20, 21, 20, 21, 22, 23. All were fixed. And then on step 24, you saw a big increase. Okay? All these steps are a couple percentage points. The new contract, let's take a look. This is the new contract. This is what we're talking about. After step 20, now, agreed, they want to jump 2 steps next year. So everybody's getting close to this. At step 20, the next step, every step over step 20, you get this 10%, 9.1% change. If you take the 73,985 right here, divide it by the 80,523 right here, you get this 9%, right? It's nearly a 9% increase. So if you can make it to if you make it for over step 20, so you make it 20, 21, 22, done. You have 3 years at your highest step. You can jump out of the system and get the maximum on your PASERs for your service years. This is not good, people. We are cheating the system. We're cheating our taxpayers. We didn't have someone in the room negotiating when we took away all these extra steps and a linear path and got lazy at the bottom of the step chart and threw in a 10% raise so people can put in 3 years, get 3 maxed out, because it's your highest 3 years you get your pension on. This is bad, people. They're not looking after the best interest of the community. So that kind of gives you the basics. I'm telling you that they should review the non-mandated employees. We asked this of our business manager. Joy and I sat down, and it was very difficult to extract this information. The board is the one that should be doing the budget. The board is the one holding the administration accountable. The board is the one that's supposed to be reviewing what people are needed and not needed anymore now that we built these schools, and whether we want security guards or policemen, or whether we want to train and educate all of our staff to the social, educational learning, or do we want to have 1 or 2 players that are pushing that process so that the teachers can do other things when it's really the students that need this access from all of our staff, all of our employees. Now, there's seniority. So realistically, we have a ton of new people that are on this staff that have to be reviewed. If these older, higher step people want to take those positions, that's fine. But we should focus the employees on the mandated tasks. I know it's hard to tell people, but we can't have all this fluff, all this corruption and waste in the system where people are wasting thousands and thousands of dollars shuffling paperwork instead of just say lawful transparency. It works. I know it's hard to do, but if we don't balance this budget, it's only going to get worse. And simple, the library. We've always given the library $20,000. It's how they stay alive. If we do not support our local library as our district, that's a problem. In the past, the treasurer always donated their salary to the library. Recently, we don't have that, apparently. I haven't seen it in any of the board meetings. So it's bad. They got the wrong mentality. They got the wrong set of ethics. They got the wrong moral standards. Protect the students. Provide mandated free and public education. And then, and only then, once all those needs are met and the community can support it, do you add the luxuries. Just like you would do your own home budget. It's the same thing. So take a look, see if you can find it. Go into Pennsylvania School Code, see if you can find assistant to the superintendent or all the administrative staff associated with it. See which one you'd rather have, a security guard or someone with a sworn oath to uphold the law and arrest students. Ask your superintendent, how many times have we arrested students in the last couple of years? We should be aware of this. Now, they also had a conversation in public social media about accountability. The buck stops with the board. If we have students that are unsupervised, if we have students that are getting injured, We have policy that we created that needs to be reviewed to ensure that these things do not happen. Believe me, there's 500 districts that they're not happening in. Why is our rubber stamping, blind trusting board of directors circling the wagons each and every time a student gets hurt instead of fixing the problem? And the problem to fix is simple. Review the policies, hold those staff members accountable to the policy. And if the policies need changing, change it. It is really straightforward. But let the people speak. It is a public meeting, people. It's not a board meeting. It's the access of the board to the people and the people's access to their government. We're in America. This is not a dictatorship, or at least it shouldn't be. And when you hear people like Rita and Larry making their comments in those board meetings, shameful. Shameful. They should resign. Hold them accountable, people. Do your job. Thank you.